to the latest edition of The Bottom Shelf. Join me again is Kyle and Johan. Say hello, fellas.
Bonjour.
I am delighted to be here. Not at all sarcastic. I am actually. We're doing a really fun episode today.
A good game.
Do you want to give us the game you would be playing?
Yeah, of course. I mean, we've said dive back into our past lives and dig into one of the bona fide early 2000s classics, Grand Theft Auto Vice City.
Although we were actually discussing just before we did episode 3 that we thought about doing GTA 4 as well, or instead of. And then we had some issues with playing Vice City on modern hardware, shall we say? But we
a recurring theme for all of our episodes so far, to be fair. Apart from the first one, we've all had problems trying to run various things in various different ways. Vice City wasn't the easiest to get set up, to be honest, but
we have a habit of wanting to play games that were released in the early 2000s on Windows 10
games
machines.
That we can't play, essentially. Yeah, I want to play games that I just know I can't run.
You both played the Steam versions, right?
Yeah.
Yes, I did. Yeah.
Which you can't buy anymore.
Yes, because you can buy the rebooted remake.
It's not on Steam. It's only on the Rockstar Game Launcher, I believe.
Anyway, but I played it on the original PlayStation hardware. Yay!
Didn't know that actually.
Yeah,
interesting. I'll admit, I did play it with a controller setup, so rather than doing it via keyboard and mouse, just to keep that authentic kind of PS2 feel going on, but without all the loading times and stuff like that.
We were playing it as if it was the PS2 version. We didn't use the mouse and keyboard.
Yeah, so I installed like controller mods and stuff, and I tried to get all the things to work as it would do normally on the PS2.
I don't think there's going to be much of a problem in terms of differences of experience.
Apart from things like loading times,
I was going to go for loading
times
times
and stuff.
Do you know how long I took time? And it was 1:30 to load in from when you start the PlayStation and load in the game.
I have many fond memories of looking at those loading screens.
I remember going from island to island, having that kind of excruciating kind of like 30-second wait to get there. It was like half a second on the PC.
Yeah, in the PC it still has the graphics to do that, but obviously with more modern PCs now quickly they run, it literally flashes for less than a second.
You can't read it. It just goes. Yeah, so Vice City came out back in October 2002, less than a year after Grand Theft Auto 3 came out, believe it or not.
Was it that short?
Yeah, literally it was just over a year. Sorry, my bad. That was 2001, I believe, early 2001. So about kind of 14, 15 months gap between GTA 3 and Vice City. It came out on Xbox a year later and came out on PC in May 2003 and went to mobile phones in December 2012.
There was a mobile phone one?
Yeah, they ported over Vice City and GTA 3.
Yeah, all the PS2 ones, I think you can play mobile if you really want to.
How
Does
is
San
it?
Andreas have a mobile port?
I thought it did, but now you said that.
When did you say
GTA 3 is definitely on mobile and Vice City
It was 2012.
When did you say the mobile one came out?
2012.
2012, alright, so there was smartphones. Okay, I was thinking more like Nokia's back in 2000 and whatever. Okay.
It wasn't on my LG chocolate or anything, no.
Engage.
Yeah.
No, GTA Engage game. It's not like a Game Boy port on the Engage.
There was a Game Boy Advance GTA, but that was just like the classic formula.
That was just its own unique thing, top-down malarkey, yeah. I don't think Engage could even do that sort of graphics if it wanted to be honest. I don't think it was that powerful.
Did either of you
it looked
play
rough
it
as old arseholes.
Did either of you play it when it was new, when it came out?
Yes.
It was the first PS2 game I ever owned. But I bought a PS2 because Vice City came out.
I got a PS2 for Christmas.
I remember playing it even before I got the PS2. I played it at a friend's house, and that was one of the reasons why I wanted a next-gen console at the time.
I was getting a PS2 for my Christmas, and I looked at the gaming magazines and saw GTA 3, and it had like a Vice City preview thing going on. And I was like, I need to get this immediately, because this looks fucking awesome.
But did you have a memory card when you got it?
Yeah, well, I wasn't poor.
Well, I did, because I got it for Christmas, and my parents didn't get me a memory card, so I was like, alright, I'll play. I can't save.
There are certain games that you could work without a memory card. GTA doesn't feel like one of those games to be completely honest.
It would have been a relatively new thing as well, memory cards, because before then it saved on the game.
Well, no, didn't the N64 have memory cards?
No.
Not maybe there was an expansion
port thing.
Yeah, but you saved on the cartridge itself.
Oh yeah, ignore me, I'm being stupid.
Well,
PS1 memory cards.
PS1 had one memory card.
Yeah, but Okay, 2 consoles in and it's becoming a night.
The console directly before the one we're talking
Although
about.
then the one after just went, fuck it, go to hard drives.
Easier that way.
Yeah.
Yeah, so how about games prior to Vice City? Do you recall any GTA experiences before Vice City came out?
I played GTA 2 and London back in 3rd, 4th grade.
I have London on PS1 still somewhere tucked away in a box.
We played it on
I remember playing the GTA 2 more than any of those other ones. I have played I've played GTA 1 and the London version a little bit, but I remember 2 being the one I really got into before, the next gen after.
Can't imagine how much GTA 3 kicked off the sort of 3D crime up kind of genre. Around the same time, Mafia had just come out. The Getaway came out not too long before I think.
Wasn't the Getaway to capitalize on GTA's? Do you have anything where Getaway came out?
I had the Getaway. I thought that was a really fun game. I don't think it's aged quite as well. It's going for that sort of really realistic thing, which means that after 10 or so years, it didn't look that well. No, I had them both, and I think as much as I liked the Getaway, I think it's got a better narrative. The Getaway from like a non-biased standpoint, but gameplay-wise, Vice City just blows it out of the water. To be honest, Mafia I didn't play. To be honest, I never really got into that. So, I heard that was quite good.
I know. GTA 3 is the one game a lot of people point to as the thing that really kickstarted open world games as a concept, or at least for 3 dimensions.
Even that generation, that was the sort of the tentpole title for the new era of gaming is here.
It's a template that's more or less still been used now for a lot of open world games. It hasn't really evolved much since then.
From what it came from to what GTA 3, GTA 2, GTA 3, the quantum leap in terms of this everything, even now, it still kind of baffles me how much they managed to turn that into something which still holds up relatively well today, more or less.
Well, we'll get into more details about because after I played Vice City, I went and replayed GTA 5, and then I played a little bit of GTA 4, and there's noticeable differences in polish of the gameplay.
We're talking 2 decades of polish, to be fair. I mean, 2002 was a pretty massive year for gaming on automobile, but in 2002 we had a bunch of games come out. We had Metroid Prime, Mario Sunshine, Tony Hawk Pro Skater 4, Splinter Cell, Hitman 2, Wind Waker, Time Splitters 2, Kingdom Hearts, BMX XXX, a whole bunch of really quality titles.
BMX XXX being the best of them, of course.
Of course, yeah. So, it's a pretty massive year, and it manages to kind of make itself presentable and be probably one of the best of that collection, which is kind of baffling, to be honest.
I'm pretty sure all 3 of those PS2 GTA games get frequently put in like top 10 lists of that generation.
I have a list here, actually. So this game received 95 on Metacritic, which makes it the joint 5th highest ranking PS2 game. Same as GTA San Andreas. GTA 3 got 97, got 2 points higher than GTA Vice City.
Well, people are often wrong, so...
Mate,
I think if you're comparing Vice City to GTA 3, then fair, but if 3 had nothing to be compared to at the time, that was its own unique thing with no sort of, comparison, so I can understand why it was so highly...
If you looked at those games, equally, just before, the PS3 came out, so, the end of the PS2's lifespan, I think you'd probably put San Andreas as the highest, maybe. Close to Vice City behind, but GTA 3 is really falls behind on some key aspects.
And you think
it's been the first in its kind.
If there was no GTA 3, we went straight from GTA 2 to Vice City, it would be a more highly praised game because there's nothing to sort of build upon previously. So I get Vice City is a little bit lower because it already had those foundations laid in the previous game.
That's the issue with trying to compare scores, but then that amount of time between them.
This is when the games came out, when these were... This is kind of like as they were when they came out. This is the reviews as of 2002.
Yeah, but I mean, the expectations would have been lower when, that kind of game didn't even exist.
And only a year after GTA 3 came out, it came out pretty damn quickly afterwards, so I can understand why folks would be a little bit kind of less appreciative towards it, given how fast the turnaround was.
Well, what was the turnaround with Left 4 Dead, though? Left 4 Dead and Left 4 Dead 2.
Different kind of games though.
But I'm just talking about how quickly.
It was actually quite. I think wasn't it 2 or 3 years?
Was it? Because I remember people being pissed that they came out so in between each other.
I think that
games take longer to make now. To be fair,
I think that was more so just because they there isn't that much difference between them, to be honest.
But you couldn't have like GTA 4 and then a year later GTA 5. It wouldn't work anymore. There's a vast change in technology and manpower required to make
There's so
games
much
these
money
days.
in it.
Yeah, and it's just the turnover of staff and the money that's turned into it. You can't really do games that quickly anymore, for better or for worse. Fortunately.
No,
I want to mention, because me and Craig are playing the old PC versions. Do you have any issues with compatibility or anything, Craig, trying to get your PC version up to running?
A little bit. That was more so trying to get the controller aspect working because I didn't want to use the keyboard and mouse. But once I did that, it was more or less fine.
Same boat with me, more or less. I had to do like an X input mod to get it to work properly.
I'm sure there's people that probably prefer the other method and think we're like the idiots, but that's the way I remember playing, and that's the way I wanted to replay it.
I remember playing on the PC with keyboard and mouse as well. I had it later. I liked it a lot more than a controller setup.
I think any game that involves driving around a keyboard and mouse feels like a really bad way of playing it.
It's an advantage for the gun sections. It's just everything else it isn't.
I want to mention that in a bit, actually. I've got some choice words about the gunplay in this game. We'll get to that momentarily. First impressions. So you start the game up, you go through the beautiful 80s theme music, you wait your minute and a half to get through the loading sequences, you get into the car, Michael Jackson starts playing. What were our first impressions?
I think that you know, the whole when all the cutscenes play out and then you get to the game that between there and going to your first mission is probably the best gameplay introduction to any game that's least of that generation, maybe even ever. It works really well.
It goes very
it does
quickly.
It sets the tone really, really well. You know what you're going to get as soon as you start the game. You got all the pastel colours and the 80s music and the 80s cars. You know what you're going to walking into.
Yeah.
A fantastic way of doing it. Control-wise, now you mentioned GTA 5 earlier, Craig. I know it's a very, very different control scheme to GTA 5 in terms of how the cars and the gunplay feels. Do you think it's better in certain ways, or is this all around worse?
Is there anything about Vice City is better? You mean?
Yeah, anything that you think, I'm sad that that's gone now.
I think before GTA 4, I think the GTA games did a lot better of having more just fun
more arcadey, isn't it? I guess.
Like the side content and the general tone of the game. Once GTA 4 came out, it started to become a lot more serious.
I mean, more control-wise, but the actual kind of how it feels and stuff.
I mean, control-wise, I mean, it's
pretty much the same.
It's a lot. I won't say same. It's just.
I'll say I don't like the lack of camera control that you have in the PS2 games. That's quite jarring.
Is there a lock-on in the newer ones in like 5?
Yeah.
It auto locks on, but you still got like the free movement afterwards. That's the problem.
You can aim for the head or for the limbs and stuff. Yeah.
Alright.
Yeah, because I do think that. Yeah, because I think the lack of overall camera control, especially on foot, where you can't really rotate the camera and stand still and move at the same time, that's really kind of off-putting.
I had problems at the section we have to scope in and shoot, and I was like, why can't I? But it was the PS2 controller I had was so old, so there was so much dust and stuff in between, so I switched to a newer controller. This works perfectly.
Yeah.
I do think that the driving feels really good, but the gunplay is aged.
Yeah, I was going to say driving might be the one thing that I might prefer. Just on the basis of, although I know why they changed it for GTA 4 and 5 to make it feel a bit more like you're actually driving the car, but it does take a little bit away from the gameplay.
Especially 4, where 4 had those really kind of weighty driving controls, which I get they're more realistic.
I won't actually call it worse, it's just different, but it's not a different I like.
It's got a higher skill level involved to actually pull it off properly, whereas you can pick up and play Vice City and get the controls nailed down for driving in seconds.
When you start playing one of those games, there's a level of getting used to it, whereas with Vice City, you just there straight away.
I can go back into it and get used to it in like a minute. It just takes no time at all. Any of the vehicles that you work with, even like helicopters and planes or the whole plane.
I hate boats. The boats controls in the PS2 one I don't like.
Boats, because you're mostly in the air with the boat, you keep hitting the waves, so you've got very little control of what happens with the boats. You're in the lap of the gods at that point.
I was like, you're mostly in the air with the boats. Like, wait, what?
Yeah, you're airborne because you're actually not hitting the splashes back and forward.
Like, are you thinking of a plane?
Yeah, the gunplay, I couldn't stand the gunplay.
No,
It
I'll agree.
really
I'll agree
annoyed
with that.
me.
It was a bit.
The fact you can't use like assault rifles without going into that first-person mode, that's really infuriating. It basically means that you can't really use weapons that quickly.
At least on the controller, you don't have any free aim, unless you have one of those assault rifles or the sniper. But anything else, you have to lock onto a target.
Heavy machine guns, or the minigun has no aiming at all. It just does what it wants. So it shooting helicopters out the sky for no reason.
Yeah, I think there's a certain level of auto aim in terms of like if you're roughly in the direction of what you want to shoot, it'll maybe lock onto it.
I think I used mainly just SMGs for the entire game because just the lock on made the game that much easier to play with.
Yeah.
Like the Colt Python's the best weapon in the game because one hit kills anything. You just lock into it and go bang, 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 and everything falls down in one hit.
Oh yeah, that and the machine guns, the assault rifles.
Oh, they're useless. The assault rifle. It's a shame.
If you could aim them the same way as the other guns, as well as having the option to just look down the scope, it would be fine.
Yeah, you can't even have the option to change it. That'd be really cool, actually.
I'm sure that it's probably in terms of raw damage and fire rate and everything, it's probably better. But because you have to physically like move a cursor with a joystick to do it, is it just negates any benefit? You can't aim and move with half the guns either that you can all lock on with. Yeah. Apart from the light pistol and a few of the shitty SMGs, you have to stay still and shoot, which is not really great when the AI is like laser targeted.
Flamethrower is shit.
But you stand still and slowly go, whoa, try and knock everything out.
That's fun because you don't really have much health.
The heavy guns are kind of useless. The bazooka's the best one, probably. The minigun's kind of useless. The heavy machine gun involves doing that first-person mode thing. The flamethrower's useless. So, yeah.
But realistically, you only get about, maybe like, 5, 6, 7 hits with any given gun and you're probably dead. Without armor, anyway.
The AI is broken.
And when you keep that in mind, when some missions, you're having to like go through a gauntlet of maybe like 15, 20 guards with either like the best machine gun or the assault rifles, it gets pretty.
It's when you get 5 stars and the FBI roll up in their shitty black van and just shoot you all at once, and it's like I'm dead immediately.
I'm gonna say the mission, maybe jumping a bit, but the mission where you steal the tank, I had to redo that so many times.
I looked that. I got the drive by a sniper rifle through the window and then managed to kind of like finagle my way through. I had like 5
I didn't have as much trouble. That's because I knew what was coming up because I played it before and I have my own way of dealing with it. But the first time I played it at the time, it was an issue.
I cheated a bit. Like I was standing next to a corner and then like they came up to me. I shot it with the bazooka, then I stood by a corner and they came like run 1-on-1 towards me. So dead.
There's a couple of moments in the game where it feels like you have to play it the way you're not supposed to play it in order to progress.
The AI is both stupid and also like maniacal at the same time. It's very impressive. That line between being this is too easy to I'm actually going to be killed every single time I try and doing this. I have no chance of winning this.
Move more into the the narrative, but also just the look of the game, because it's obviously one of the reasons why I like to replay this one compared to either San Andreas or 3 is the aesthetic.
San Andreas and 3 have quite a grimy look to them. I'm not really overly fond of, whereas Vice City just drips with character and kind of like pastel colours and neon lights. It's very alluring. Baby. I wasn't there for it, but I love it either way.
It's more so it's pop culture's interpretation of the 80s, or
it's Miami Vice.
Looking back at what was popular then and like making like a caricature of it.
This is
watches Scarface once and then knows what Miami's like in the 80s.
It's exactly like the 80s was. The whole 2 months I was in the 80s, I remember it being exactly like that.
Like you time travelled 2 months I was in the 80s for. But yeah, like Vice City is a character all in itself. The whole city just feels like vibrant. There's this little reference to other things that you can see. The map is really, really memorable. I could draw the entire thing off the top of my head. Probably.
One of the big problems with a lot of open world games is they make the world just feel dead.
Yeah,
there's being big and there's being dense.
This is a perfect size in my opinion of the map.
That's what I was going to say. They've managed to.
There's something going on at every corner of the map, and you know where you have to go. They've all got unique landmarks. You know where you're going.
Yeah, they make it big enough to make it feel like like an actual city, but also it's concise enough where you can you if you've played the game for any length of time, you'll pretty much be able to navigate just from memory.
I said to you drive from Rosenberg's place to the Malibu Club. You know where you're going immediately. You've got a route in your head as to where you have to actually go. You know all the landmarks in your head because the map's that small that you can memorize which routes you're taking.
I think that's something a lot of games that came after it that sort of missed the point of. They just
Maybe a hot take, but I think San Andreas had that problem, to be honest, in certain points. A lot of the map didn't really have a whole lot going for it.
Well, San Andreas, it had like 3 concise maps like that, but then they had the big empty areas around it to get to them.
Like,
they were trying to be a lot more ambitious with, instead of just one city, we're going to have like a whole like county.
Like beyond the last Ventura's trip, the rest of the town is just there's a blur to me. There's things there that they never have to get to use it for anything. Whereas a lot of missions take place in each distinct point on Vice City's map, so they all have some semblance of importance.
That was one of the things I liked with GTA 5 when they remade, which is essentially a remake of the Los Santos.
Yeah,
Santos.
They just did that, and they didn't actually bother with the other ones in that game. So they was able to make it a lot more detailed.
Even with 5 though, I get lost in 5 all the time because there's still so much stuff there, and not a lot of it is that memorable. A lot of it just
a
there.
lot of it you don't actually really need to go either in terms of the way you progress the game.
There's no reason to go there. There's nothing actually of any exciting there. It's just there just because it fills in the gap in the map.
Random people you could pick up. That's basically it.
Yeah, so I think Big City has a nice balance where it's I think 3 was a little bit too convoluted trying to find your way across certain islands, and there's no map system.
It looks so. Everything looks. I wouldn't say everything looks the same, but it isn't really many distinctive features around there.
If you play 3 again, 3's actually really, really small, like deceptively small.
Yeah, it is.
You take out all the water that's around it with the islands and stuff, the actual map size is actually pretty minuscule. So yeah, there's that. But yeah, I think Vice City has a nice balance between being it's big enough to have that you can know where you're going, but it's not small enough that you think I'm running out of space to do things.
Not too big, not too small. The Goldilocks theft also.
It's the perfect size, absolutely. A little character in its own right. Speaking of characters, let's do plot. Actually, plot's probably a good way to start off with. The plot of it's fairly generic, kind of 80s action stuff. Drug deal goes wrong, revenge story line, but it works really well for what it has to do. Yeah, it's got bits of Scarface, bits of Miami Vice, bits of any other 80s film that you can name chucked in for good measure, but it works. Yeah, it's almost parody in certain ways. You know where it's going to go before it even happens, but it works.
If you just look at the what actually happens, like what is the basic story, it's probably one of the weakest compared to the other GCs, but I think the one thing that sets it apart is the actual characters in it that make up for it.
Yeah,
I've got a cast list written down here. So voice actors, we have, of course, the late great Ray Liotta playing Tommy Vercetti. There's an iconic role for him. You've got William Finchner, you've got Tom Sizemore, Dennis Hopper, Burt Reynolds, Louis Guzman, Robert Davi, Danny Trejo, Gary Busey, and of course Danny Dyer.
I did not know, by the way, that it was Gary Busey who played Phil, because I was like, why does that voice sound familiar? It's like, Gary Busey?
It's the most distinctive character.
It's the crazy man!
That's Danny Trejo. I had no idea. What?
That was probably the GTA 3. I think it had some big names, but not on the same as Vice City. That was when Rockstar were really trying to make this into a blockbuster.
I love the protagonist character in 3's voice.
Candy Sucks was Jenna Jameson. I did not know that either. Huh.
I don't know who that is.
Oh yes, you've never heard of Jenna Jameson, of course.
No, I no. We did discuss that in Catholic school.
She does naughty movies.
Oh, how do you know about those?
I've heard about them in the study circles.
I read it in church. Yeah.
Yes.
But exactly. Yeah, the cast is stacked and they all do a damn good job. Sometimes actors can't really do a decent voice role, but they all seem to actually they're into it.
And apparently, it
doesn't always translate going from real actor to voice actor. That can be a bit.
They watch a lot of movie to game adaptations. They've got the actual cast to come back into the voices. A lot of the time, it just feels really flat because they're not voice actors. They haven't got the same sort of character to put across it and only using their voice. But all the cast here seem to do a really good job of it.
Yeah, I was just going to quick say. Also, Debbie Harry from the band or group Blondie is apparently the taxi controller voice.
Is she really?
Yeah, according to IMDb.
I didn't know that. Oh, the more you know. Another one to add onto the list of quality voice acting roles.
Yeah.
What do you think of Tommy as a character in terms of kind of his personality and his development and stuff like
He's
that?
a psychopath killer.
Well, I mean, as the protagonist, he's sort of he can't really. The game doesn't want to give him too much of a what's the word, like not personality, but too much depth because it's the character you play. But they portray him very much as a guy that gets shit done. And I think
It's
that's
kind of funny because
I think that fits for a game where you're basically just running around doing the crazy things you do in GTA.
he's got a bit of snark and he's also a bit of mean streak, but I think he's quite likable as a character, despite all the horrible things that he does. Which is quite a hard thing to pull off, to be honest.
Ken Rosenberg is more fun. At least
William Finch, yeah.
He's more crazy. No, not like he's more. What's the word?
Well, he's just based off that Carlito's Way lawyer, isn't he? Basically, almost like the exact same character verbatim that's played by Sean Penn in Carlito's Way. But yeah, he does a good job of that one.
There's a lot of that in Vice City where they just take bits of popular movies at the time and work it into the plot.
Well,
what's our favourite character?
Ooh,
maybe it is Ken Rosenberg, or maybe Lance Vance.
Really?
I don't know.
and I like the part where you're going around with that parody 80s glam band Love Fist. There's some really funny moments.
Everything that Love
part.
Fist are involved in is a personal highlight of the game for me.
Yeah.
Not for the reasons that you think it is either.
I don't know if I'd say they're my favourite characters, but that part of the game where you enter, that's
they're really
memorable.
fun. I like Dennis Hopper as the porn director. Where the giant shark comes in and bites their dicks off and stuff like that. The Cuban Danny Trejo's character, who's supposed to be big cojones and all that stuff, and dressing like ladies and all that stuff.
I don't really want to really single anyone because I think all of them are like very equally. There isn't really anyone that steals the show.
Kent Paul.
I was going to say when it comes to the
I'll knock you spark
Yeah.
out.
story wise.
I wonder how many people played that game like in North America wondering what the hell is he talking about.
I'm doing that on my end, and I'm not. I'm in the country.
How many characters are from that show up because there's a prequel ish? How many of the
Vice
characters
City
show up?
stories.
No, I'm thinking GTA 3 because there's characters that are in
You
GTA
say prequel, you usually mean
This
Vice
is the
City
prequel.
stories.
This is the prequel.
No, it
to
isn't.
GTA 3.
No, GTA 3 takes place after.
No,
So
it's the
this is-
film that came out before. It's not a prequel that came out after. That makes no sense.
Story wise, it's a prequel.
They came out before, so it can't be a prequel. Vice City's a sequel of anything in that way.
This happens before the things that happen in GTA 3.
No, I'm not going to debate with you. You're wrong.
Anyway, but I mean, like,
No, GTA 3
How many
takes...
returning cast members are there? Is that what you're asking?
no, not character wise. Phil, he shows
Donald
up.
Love.
Love, yeah.
No, but GTA 3 takes place after the
Wasn't
the
Avery
events of Vice City.
Carrington also
Yes.
in
I agree with
yeah.
you.
No, that's not what you said.
But that means that Vice City is a prequel.
Oh, you know what, forget it.
But the game actually has an actual prequel itself,
Yeah.
though. You can't call
Yes,
it
I know
that.
that. I know that as well.
But you just wanted to be contrarian.
Always.
That's
But is
unlike
there-
you, that's
is-
fair.
Yeah, but is there like at least those two characters? Is there any other characters that show up in 3?
I'm kind of glad there's not, to be honest. I like it being its own unique thing and not being sort of like handcuffed to
Yeah, I think
GTA
they
3.
tend to be pretty. They have some crossover, but they don't go mad with it.
They play fast and loose with the rules, I think, in regards to who's where and who's still alive and who's dead and stuff like that. And I'm quite content with that. I'm fine with that. It's not the MCU, you know. It's just,
No, but what's the character's
Doesn't
name
need to
in 3? What was his name again?
well, the main character,
Yeah.
Claude.
Claude, he shows up in San Andreas, doesn't he?
I think you only find out his name in San. I think it's just nameless
Yeah.
for GTA 3, but it gets called Claude in Vice
There's-
City. I mean, instead of San Andreas,
Yeah.
like the one mission that you see him in.
Well, there's also
Oh yeah,
Silent-
Catalina, of course, main antagonist.
Yeah, I think
for
that's the
GTA 3.
reason why they put him in that cutscene as well, to try and tie it together.
Yeah, even more so, yeah. So, yeah, there's a few of them that return, but most of them are fairly new. All the good ones, at least, are. You've got the Sonny Forelli, the Avery Carrington's come back, the Cubans, the Haitians, and all that. That's all new stuff, which I'm quite happy with, to be honest. Diaz, I think, is a great character. Crazy mentalist, just shoots birds and VCR sets and stuff. So, yeah,
Go on.
missions. What's our favourite kind of highlighted missions that we sort of remember the most, or we'll do worse in a second. We'll cover favourites
I
first.
think memorable's probably the part where you have to sort of take over Diaz's business. We have that big shootout in the mansion. I think that's like the first like big like moment that happens in the game.
Yeah, I think
with it involving a lot of gunplay, I found myself not enjoying that very much. I think in like a tight area too, the camera doesn't really cooperate.
I like the build up to it and the reason why it resorts to that.
I think the shooters are fine in like an open area, like when we were trying to save Lance from the scrapyard.
Yeah, that's the prelude to it as well.
It's an open area, so it's not. Yeah,
yeah.
I'm a fast driver though, so it's fine. But it's an open area, so you can aim, and there's not any sort of camera nonsense going on, so it's not quite so jarring there. But any kind of like closed off, that means you have to go to that mission on the island and try and shoot them in the dilapidated house and try and get to the roof and take the briefcase and stuff in that little kind of run down like mansion thing. It's awful. You can't see around corners.
There was one where you had to do something like that. It was on the is it cruise ship or just a cargo ship?
I had that on my worst mission list. That's awful.
Yeah, and I can't think too many like super good missions like that stand out. But I think it's more just there's a couple that just really stand out for the wrong reasons.
All the Love Fist missions. Love Fist ruined my life.
I don't know if it's a good or bad one, but the one where Phil is bleeding to death.
Oh, and you're on the moonshine, and you're swaying back and forward constantly.
Yeah. Are you trying to so he doesn't bleed to death to get him to the doctor?
I like the Cuban stunt boat missions at the start because you get the guy talking about your big cojones for the entire mission. Like, you're the man! Like, I like that just for that reason only. He just talks to you about things. Quite humorous. Any mission that involves you being in the car, mostly, I found the most enjoyable. So like the driving mission, you try and race the guy in the Sabre Turbo and trying to beat him to the finish line for the bank job. That's quite fun.
I think a lot of the side content as well like shines a lot more than some of the main missions. Did you actually play much of beyond the main story, or did you delve into?
Dabbled in bits and bobs. Did a bit of vigilante missions. They're quite fun. Ambulance I don't enjoy because that's really vicious. You hit one person and the whole thing comes to an end.
The ambulance one's the worst out of those. The vehicle ones that can get really stingy.
Well, you get the attack chopper and do vigilante, it becomes almost like trivial. You just hit things from the air and move on. Or the tank, actually, fair point. Yeah, if you get the chopper though, you just fly from point to point and just rocket them from the sky. You can't lose. It's fantastic.
Did you do the car racing car stuff at the stadium?
So
the bike.
So the blood ring derby I quite like. Those. Death ring I don't like. That kind of demolition derby I really don't enjoy that at all. The races I quite enjoy. The dirt bike one I did not enjoy.
I quite like that one. I thought it was.
I never liked those,
challenge.
even when the game was new. I never liked those sections.
I like the ball thing, to go over in circles, like NASCAR sort of thing, trying to avoid being. I like that one's quite fun. The rest of them I had less of a good time with.
Oh, the RC stuff as well.
Didn't have a problem with that.
Now.
Oh, you're going to talk about the demolition mission?
No, I am actually not. That one I'm fine with. It's the one with the RC plane.
Oh yeah. Is it one of the Haitian? Not Haitian.
Yeah, it was Haitian mission. It was. I think it was Haitian actually.
One or the other.
Yeah, it was. Trying to kill the Cubans on the dock and stuff with your bombs on the. Fuck that mission, by the way. Awful.
You know the meme when you said the demolition with a helicopter. It wasn't that bad on the PlayStation, but I remember it being shit on the PC because it's just keyboard and mouse controls, and it was horrible. On the PlayStation, it was all right.
No, I never got the hype behind that one. I thought that was
it got a reputation, but only from like one point of view.
That feels tame compared to the plane mission. The plane one's an absolute nightmare. And you get like 3 planes that you can get, or your mission fails after that. But they start to leave. You're trying to do like a chase and drop bombs on a moving like boat with a shitty RC plane. I hate it so much. I can't put it into words.
I'll be honest. I don't remember being particularly frustrated with that, but it is awkward to control the planes, especially the RC ones. The tiniest adjustment, and it goes flying in either left, right, or just nosedive.
I didn't like the mission involving the turning on the G spotlight when you get the big candy sucks thing on the I fuck that.
I don't mind if it's the challenges with using the vehicles, because I feel like more of it's down to you rather than bad luck.
You mess up one of the jumps though on the bike, you're back to square one more or less.
Well, I think
there's like 3 checkpoints where it brings down ladders, but those are very, very hard to get a hold of.
And even just It's something I didn't actually realize until I saw someone else mention it in the video I was watching. When you land on the bike, it actually damages the bike even if you land on the wheels.
Yeah, the bike blows, you're fucked as well. It's also
even the process of doing that mission, you're going to pick up damage. So it doesn't give you much leeway if you like keep fucking up.
I hate it. There's no margin for error there whatsoever, or the car that's detonates in the second to last jump and then you're fucked all over. I don't like that. I don't like the last mission either.
That's mostly because it's all guns. That took me a lot. That's probably the one mission that I had to do the most retries.
I had to cheese the last part. I basically had to throw grenades down the stairs until I killed off Sonny. I couldn't shoot him. It was too much health he had. I had like a shitty gun at the time, so...
I had the main problem with that. You had to chase Lance. Because then you're forced to like come face to face with all the goons.
It should be in two. Is that the mansion shooter thing was done before with Diaz, so it's more or less like a rehash of the same mission in the same location.
But I never had a problem with the first one because there was a lot less people you had to deal with.
Yeah, it's just the same thing but harder essentially. I thought if you have all the matter, who make that something a bit more exciting to do the last mission?
I don't like it when games when they want to increase difficulty, we'll just put more people for you to deal with
bigger guns who've got like really good aim
without taking any consideration into like the way the game plays.
Yeah, again, that comes up to the gunplay, I think. I think in a small narrow space when you can't really see what's coming around the corner, it's something that's really not good for you.
That's why you just run and gun and pray to God.
That's just a point. I just run past them all.
And then restart and throw the controller through the TV.
I think the last mission took me maybe 4 or 5 attempts to get through the last mission.
Yeah, I think that's about
step
right.
on the PlayStation 2, get a new PS2.
I like the bank job mission a lot better than that, to be honest.
Yeah, that had a lot more of a feel to it.
Yeah, again, it was hard, but it wasn't like unfair hard.
No.
Yeah. So yeah, apart from that, I think
it doesn't actually require you to do a lot of shooting. It's more just the getaway is the tricky part, and that's
it's trying to get into the car outside and not get caught by the police.
And, if you can do that, you're golden.
I'm going to say when you say the AI is broken, I'm going to tell a story. Can I just tell a quick story from when I had the game when it was brand new back in the day?
Regale your stories.
I've told this before, but I put in a cheat so that because when you buy for those who don't know, when you could buy certain places, offices and shit. So there's what would you call them? Bodyguards that protect your areas.
The Rossetti gang.
Yeah.
So I put in a cheat where they all became bikini babes.
This says a lot. This says a lot about you.
But the problem was, I don't know if I put in another code or broke the game in any way, shape, or form. They still killed rival gangs coming into the area, but they also tried to kill me. And then I saved over the game, so I could not go to my places of business.
The game always says don't save with the cheats turned on for a good reason.
Well, I was like, I don't know, how old was I back then? I don't know, 12, 13?
The whole it'll damage your save thing would come up. Was that just a myth, or was that a thing that actually would damage your save?
I don't know, but it was basically luckily I'd finished the game anyway, so I owned everything. But it was like every time I started,
the cheats are very fun. The cheats are great. I enjoy the cheats. You get flying cars, you get the tank, and they shoot behind you, and then you take off with the tank. You got a flying tank at that point. Essentially, you go in the water with the cheat, and the wheels go like James Bond. Yeah, quite nice. You get the turn of the NPCs into bikini wielding machine gun babes. Why not?
Yeah, that was the time where additional content in the game was basically just having a bunch of cheat codes that change things to be really silly.
They can't exploit that until later on down the line, so we'll just need to put it into the game for free. Ugh, woe is us.
Soundtrack?
I mean, the soundtrack's iconic. I mean, I think it might be the best licensed soundtrack for any game ever still.
Normally nowadays, I notice when I play GTA 5 or 4, I go around till I find a channel I like and keep it on that. In Vice City, I could keep it on any channel pretty much and just listen to anything playing.
That was the problem I ran into playing some of the newer games. The music just doesn't hit the same.
Even San Andreas had the same problem, I think. A lot of it just didn't resonate with me properly.
Some of it was okay, but it was more hit and miss.
Yeah, any genre or any station in Vice City I can enjoy.
There isn't many tracks that come up in Vice City that I wouldn't listen to. Even if I don't even particularly like that particular song, I'd still listen to it in the context of that game.
I would never go like, no, and then change it over. Anyway, even the talk shows are quite funny.
Yeah, well, those are always funny, the GTA games.
got the public radio thing, which is kind of like bringing on like nudists and goths and stuff, and it's like, yeah.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but didn't they really? This is one of the few games from that era where they actually released a soundtrack separately.
There was a 7 CD soundtrack that released at that point in time, yeah.
I think you got it when you bought the Xbox One.
It's odd given that the re-release came out and they had to remove half the tracks because of licensing issues.
Yeah.
I'm not sure how the newer version of Vice City compares soundtrack-wise. I'm guessing a lot of those tracks have been sort of excised over the years. I can't imagine Billie Jean still being there.
What if they still have the song, but it's like a cheap, free MIDI file?
The Kids Bop version.
There'll be a way of modding it back in because that's what happens.
It's just one of their interns singing their own version of it.
It's difficult when a soundtrack is such an integral part of your game and then it has to get removed down the line for licensing. That's a major part of your game's been sort of taken away, essentially.
That's where the modding community has to come in.
Yeah, I remember when I bought Crazy Taxi on Steam, it had none of the original songs on that. Went on Google, Crazy Taxi soundtrack mod, first link, there it is, install it, 5 minutes, all soundtracks
without
back.
Offspring. Unbelievable.
Or Bad Religion, I know. The PC version has a couple of them, but it's a lot of them have been taken away, and there's other bands that aren't the Offspring, which is sacrilege as far as I'm concerned. So that got modded back in straight away. Vice City's the same boat though. Vice City's a game that's so soundtrack dependent that losing that is like losing a limb.
Yeah, I can't think of another game where playing it without music, the music in it takes that much away from it.
Tony Hawk.
That's a good show.
That's a good call, actually.
Tony
Have you got a favourite song or favourite station in Vice City?
V-Rock.
Yeah, I can go.
What's the
either the Michael Jackson ones
or Flash? Yeah, Flash FM.
What was
all the big pop hits.
The new one was Wave 103.
Wave 103.
Yeah.
I think we still recall all the names just top of our heads like that. Speaks to how well they're done.
A year or two ago, I downloaded it all because you can find on YouTube the entire track for each channel.
Yeah.
And I downloaded them. I have the MP3s lying around.
So you have all the radio hosts introducing them.
Yeah, I'm waiting. I'm waiting for the day we'll jump in a car and I'll just turn it on with a mate, and then we'll see how long until he recognizes.
So what station is this?
Even the fake commercials and stuff sound really good in Vice City. They're all really convincing of that era with fake gaming consoles and stuff like that with the red dots firing at blue squares. Wow. All this really works really well. But
they put more effort in than they needed to, but it's well worth it.
No, I think the effort was needed to have that sort of thing. Where if you're making the game in the 80s, the music's one of the 80s highlights. You got to really if you fuck it up, then the whole thing falls apart as far as I'm concerned.
Gameplay wise, was this the last one where you couldn't swim? Could you swim in San Andreas?
Yes.
Yes, you could. You could dive in San Andreas.
Ooh, okay, yeah.
But yeah, the water thing is an issue at certain points of the game.
Is it a good or bad thing? Because I always liked it in GTA 2 and 3 and the original.
I think the problem with Vice is when they introduce boats and helicopters.
Trying to dock a boat in Vice City is a matter of life and death.
More of an issue then.
Yeah.
Seems like, why would you go on a boat if you couldn't swim?
Yeah, any mission where you have to leave a boat and go on to land is like, I don't know about that one. You sure about this?
Will the game be kind to me today?
Or you fall and then you go back onto the land a second later with half your health missing. I just roll back onto land somehow because it's a little bit nice to you in that case sometimes. But
I just remembered it's easier then to actually launch the boat and crash up on land than parking the.
Yeah,
I need to do this. I can't swim.
I think I docked my boat maybe twice in my entire gameplay session, and this rammed it up ramps and stuff for the rest of it, just for ease of use, because I just don't want to risk dying, because then it's no weapons, all your stuff's lost. It's not worth the aggravation, frankly. I think in GTA 5, if you die, you keep your weapons, but Vice City takes them all off you.
What?
Yeah, I don't remember. I think in San Andreas, if you die, you keep weapons, but if you get caught by the police, you don't.
Which makes sense. I'm pretty sure in Vice City, if you die,
I don't think the police would let you have your weapons back.
But the hospitals would, apparently. Nice.
They don't ask questions.
I'm paying the insurance. They don't care. It's fine.
So this
that's the point when you mentioned about being arrested. If in Vice City, if you get caught by the police, sometimes they'll play a voice line from Rosenberg, getting you out because he's the lawyer character. I think that's a nice little touch.
I was never caught. I usually just died before I risked going to jail.
Yeah, I always. But
it death is a lot more common than the main problem you have if you get arrested is when you're trying to jack a car while the police follow, because
Oh, and they just get you in time.
That moment where the doors open is
yeah, you see them going for the door. You get the door, the animation kicks in. It's like, no.
But if the door's already open, they don't need to do the animation, so you just get caught immediately.
Last second J-turn trying to get them off your car. Like, please, fuck off. I hate that. It's the most demoralising thing.
Yeah.
I'm free! Busted. Immediately. It's like, oh, no.
I think they adapted that a little bit into the newer
Mission
games.
failed.
It's not such an instant issue.
That missions don't have checkpoints as well. That makes it even worse when you're caught at like the last end of something.
Yeah, I think
it's
San Andreas was started to introduce that.
I don't think it did.
I think not for all missions, but certain ones that were really long. They had like
yeah, I think the last one had a few checkpoints, but most of them were pretty much just you just need to start from scratch.
I think
the damn tree, CJ.
Well, they must have got some feedback saying, replaying the whole mission from scratch isn't nice sometimes. Maybe a couple of checkpoints.
I don't mind elaborate long missions as long as it's not making me do it again and again and again 14, 15, 16 times.
I've got an answer. I've got an answer for you for that. Get good.
Huh? I didn't think of that.
I mean, it's more frustrating than the GTA games because half of doing a mission is getting to the destination. So if you keep playing, you have to make that same trip over and over again.
You get taxis in some missions that take you to your mission destination.
That's you can do that. But it's like you drive.
That was a novel idea. I like that idea.
It's like oh, I'm almost there. Oh, police. Oh, 4 stars. Oh, I'm dead. And I have to do it again.
Rinse and repeat.
I haven't even started the mission. I'm already dead.
We do the completionist runs, are going for all the hidden packages and all the stunt jumps and.
I've done. I think when I had it back in the day, I did all the extra, like the ambulance, all the the places you own missions and stuff like that. But I never did the packages or the.
Yeah, I did
it. The packages are fun. Some jumps, not so much.
I made an attempt to. I think I was missing a couple of things, 100%. But I tried most of the content at least because I wanted to see what it was like.
Again, with the map being so small, you will find a lot of those just by chance sometimes. Yeah. Or mission will involve you going to a certain spot where you literally can't miss it.
Realistically, you're not really finding all of them unless you look up like the ones that you just would never find.
But odds are, if you're doing it by chance, you're going to find a good kind of 30, 40 just by navigating around doing missions.
Without a guide and just playing the game, you'll find probably about that much.
Mission we bit the guy out of the jail. There's actually a mission package in the room where you get the key card. It's in the exact same room the key card's in, so you can't really miss it in that situation. Well, you could if you were blind, but it's things like that though.
Or just rushing through the mission, I suppose.
Yeah, speedrunning it. Yeah, but most of the ones that are on your travels, you'll find you get all the guns and stuff that you unlock at the actual Destiny stuff, and it's I think completionist thing isn't as bad as it was in say San Andreas, where there was like 17 different collectibles.
Yeah, I think they did the thing that games do when they want to make a sequel. Like, we need to do everything better. We need more of this, more of that, without.
Because you had like packages and you had like horseshoes, and then there was like
bloated.
There was like clamshells that you could find under the water that would give you collectibles as well. That they gave like unlimited.
Wasn't that the one where you had to fly under the bridges as well to get something?
Oh God, yeah. That was GTA 5 too. I'm pretty sure as well.
Yeah, I think it was in 4 as well. I think that's just been the mainstay now.
Would surprise me, to be honest. But yeah, I think completionist in GTA Vice City is probably more doable than most of them, which is helpful because it shouldn't feel like a chore or a grind. I don't think that's no fun. Why bother?
It should be challenging, but not tedious.
I like the cab missions; they're quite fun.
Like if you need to do like additional content where
pizza delivery.
If you need to do additional content where it's hard to do, but once you do it, you've done it. I'm okay with that. It's more when it wants you to like just only find collectibles, or you got to like get to like the max level of the.
You want some variety in your stuff to do at least. Yeah, some missions, some hunting stuff down, a few kind of shooty things, some driving things. We're trying to collect all the cars and stuff for the car showroom.
That's okay. You can just do that. You can just do that passively as well. If you ever see something, you can. Oh, I need to take that there.
Yeah, you don't need to have it activated.
You can't really play it because those cars just won't appear. I'm looking for this car here. It will just not spawn anywhere for like a 5-mile radius. It's like the game knows what you want and will make sure it doesn't actually spawn.
Do you know the thing, like, the joke being, like, oh, you've been looking for this car for 10 minutes or something, then you find it, and then suddenly it's everywhere. Do you know why?
Yeah, it's memory, isn't it?
It's memory, because now it has that model saved in, so every other car will be that fucking car.
I remember noticing that as a child.
Yeah.
playing the game.
I thought just
And-
God hated me at that point.
But
fair
I
enough.
always interpret it as because I'm in that car that people will just copy what I want to do for some reason.
I'm that cool that folks will buy cars immediately to try and emulate
I'm
me.
the trendsetter, so everyone's in the cheater now.
They're all going to buy like $100,000 sports car because I've got one as well. That's commendable. But yeah, those missions can be very tedious if you aren't actually. If you just can't find what you need, the last car in the list is like, come on, why won't this fucking Sentinel XS spawn somewhere? Come on, help me out, please. Although certain parts of the map it spawns, it's even worse.
The ones towards the end where it's actually like a specific car where it's in this place. At least then you know where to go.
I was sure at least say you get into a car. This card's wanted by the chop shop. Please take it to the thing. I know GTA 5 does that online.
Yeah,
This card's wanted by Simeon
nice.
and stuff. So you get into a car that knows actually wanted, I lose it, and then I don't find it again.
That's the same problem with the extreme stunt jump. It doesn't tell you if you've already completed one or not.
There's some sort of map marker, that'd be nice.
If you already did it, but you forgot, and you think, oh, where's this last jump? Is it this one? I can't remember if I did it, so I'm just going to keep repeating it 50 times.
The map should show kind of what you've done and what you found, just so you aren't doing the same thing repeatedly again and again and again. That would be handy, actually.
You hear that, 2000 and something Rockstar? Fix it.
Hindsight's a bitch, isn't it?
I mean, they technically have with the newer game.
Fix it back
No, just repatch Vice City.
Yes.
There's no overarching issues from back then that are still present now. They have fixed all the things that they have had to fix from 2002 all the way through to the present day. So that's definitely a positive step that they actually are fixing things that are noticeably wrong and actually improving it going forward. Even between Vice City and San Andreas, a lot of changes were being made to sort of improve things.
The gunplay was made a lot better in San Andreas.
The fact you could move and shoot at the same time was quite nice, and aim assault rifles and stuff without going into first-person mode. Yeah, things like that.
But they destroyed San Andreas with the RPG elements. I did not like that.
San Andreas has got an issue where
I like some of them, but not all of them.
It does a lot of things, and it doesn't do a lot of things very well. The whole kind of like having to eat to not lose health, and then you get fat, and then you can get fit, and then you have to like level up your gunplay, then you can hold two guns at the same time. I like that. I like that part, to be fair. You get driving skills go up, and your playing skills go up, and stuff like that. Yeah, they're a little bit.
Don't like it.
When it's just stuff, when it's just stuff where it's like, oh, you become better at doing this thing because you did the thing. When it's like you needing to like make sure you're not hungry or overweight. I'm playing GTA, not The Sims. Come on, guys.
I just want to race cars and do fun stuff. Did you guys do the car races at the car showroom?
Yes.
They're really fun. I enjoy those.
Not this turn, but back.
I enjoy the car racing quite a lot. Again, it goes into the highlight of the game being when you're actually committing Grand Theft Auto. Oddly enough.
Yeah, I think like I mentioned earlier, the way the cars handle is very very direct. Like when you turn left and right, it turns left very quickly, which
takes. The issue is other cars AI being a bit iffy around you.
It takes a little bit to like not overturn every corner, but once you get used to it, it becomes really satisfying to
get the handbrake turns going and stuff.
Like weave in and out of traffic.
As long as the AI doesn't try to ram into you by mistake or go around the corner that they know you're coming towards.
I remember that being a much bigger problem in San Andreas, where they literally swap lanes really quickly.
The fact you can't like unflip the car. That's something that I'm glad they changed as well. That's frustrating.
No, that's just life.
Upside down car means
it's a very GTA PS2 thing. It's just cars flipped, on fire, blows up. It's like it's signature dish almost.
Well, it's normal physics, because the petrol is pouring into the engine.
I'm assuming it's more of a game limitation.
Not within like 5 seconds though, Johan.
Have you ever flipped a car?
Have you?
That's not the question here now.
That's neither here nor there. Yeah, like I know that in GTA 5 you can just like press like right or left and your car sort of like goes and goes back onto its front.
Wait, what?
Have you been having flipped cars in GTA 5, not been able to know how to...
I always change cars when that happened.
You just hold left and right, the car will sort of rotate itself back onto its wheels.
What?
Yeah. Didn't know that.
I know you could do it in Halo, but...
Halo?
in Halo you can flip the car.
We're talking about Grand Theft Auto.
I didn't know you could do it in 5.
Because it's annoying. I know it's realistic, but it's just really nippy.
Well,
and I don't want
I
to do that.
actually, every time I flipped a car in GTA 5, I just left it there and went and picked a new car.
They don't detonate straight for a reason. That's why they don't detonate immediately for.
I don't think they detonate full stop upside down. I think they actually.
Well, if they're on
Yeah,
fire,
because they can be sort of saved. That's why they don't do it for.
Huh. Okay. You learned something new.
That's growth. We've learned something today. So overall then, does the game hold up?
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it was a bit slow on PS2.
Not all of it holds up, but the parts that do more than make up for it.
Yeah, considering how old it is now, so...
From an aesthetic standpoint, the answer is a resounding yes.
Yes.
Like, if I was going to watch a game be played, Vice City would be a fantastic thing to watch. Taking part in it, it's got more ups than downs. I'll give it that much.
It doesn't sound weird considering that it's sort of actually happened, but it's a game that would actually really benefit from a proper remake.
I was going to actually mention that next, actually. Are we tempted to try the Definitive Edition version at any point because of this? I know it's got some quality of life change regarding kind of control schemes.
I know it's been patched a bit since the initial release, but I don't know.
Would it tempt you?
If Epic gives me it for free.
Honestly,
I have to admit, I've sort of watched it and I thought, if it's got a better control scheme and better gunplay, I might just out of morbid curiosity give it a shot at some point.
I'm not paying more than €20 for it. I'll tell you.
The game's it's like £54, like for the entire trilogy.
I would be more interested in like from the ground up, which I suppose is what they're going to do with the GTA 6, basically. So I'm a bit more interested in playing that.
Well, they've not confirmed that yet, but logically speaking, because obviously 4 was in Los Santos, was in Liberty City, and
let's go back to London.
Realistic. Oh God, imagine
they might do that.
That'd be a bait and switch, wouldn't it? They never will. I don't think they'll go to a real city again because they've got more creative control.
Well, no, it won't be called that, but it'll be basically that.
No, but they call it
Landon.
Lundon.
Linden.
Luton.
Luton exists. That's also somewhere in England.
I know.
There's no such place as Luton.
Luton Airport's in London.
Luton.
I refuse to acknowledge Luton.
I deny Luton's existence.
Luton, a trademark of Rockstar.
So, yeah, I would probably buy again in the definitive version if it was cheaper, just to kind of see how it compares and contrasts. But even as it is in its old kind of 20-year-old ramshambled form, I think it's still pretty damn good.
Just if you want to buy it,
I agree.
You're going to have to go to the Rockstar store, I think.
Go to G2A.com and try buying a fake key offline. See what happens.
Probably a bit more expensive that way now because it's delisted.
Compared to San Andreas, how do we sort of...
I never liked San Andreas. So
what, at all?
No, I never. I remember buying it and I was like, it wasn't for me.
I think San Andreas has got a problem where it's almost too excessive to the point where it's actually kind of bloated.
Yeah, that's what that and I don't know. I just it's not like I dislike the feel of that game. It's just compared to Vice City, I just find that more fun.
I don't get the fuzzy feeling that I get from playing Vice City.
But I don't. There isn't really many GTA games I outright dislike per se. Maybe 4 and 5 for varied reasons. But the PS2 ones, I can play all of them and just have a good time.
San Andreas, I like the beginning of it, Grove Street and everything, but then it just like no.
When it introduces the other like cities, when you
it's like
it's a bit spread too thin.
I wish that San Andreas was more like it could have been Boys in the Hood, the game.
I think that's definitely what the start of it is.
Yes, that is the start of it. Yes, but I wanted more of that.
The game is totally inconsistent. It goes from being quite a serious kind of like gangster film to being kind of like a heist movie at certain points to being more like a
spy movie. Some parts
weird.
Of it.
Yeah, it's all a little bit all over the place. It's not really got like a singular focus, which is fine for like a bigger thing. But I think it's a little bit kind of confused because of it. I think personally,
and therefore Vice City is the better one.
How about Vice City Stories? Have you guys played that before?
I haven't actually. That's the one I've played. Liberty City Stories, but not Vice City.
You play Lance's brother, if I remember
Victor
correctly.
Vance, yes. Yeah. So it's a prequel, an actual prequel, not like a fake GTA 3 prequel.
Yep.
But that's quite fun. I had it on PSP when I was younger. That game's actually really, really fun. Would recommend that at some point, by the way. I haven't played that.
I have it on PS2, but I don't know if I have it on PSP.
You give it a shot. It's actually really fun.
No, I have it on PS2 though. So.
I might get it via other means at some point and play through it again. This see, it's the same city, but you can swim in that game. It's got better gunplay. It's got different stories, so it's I would worth looking into that definitely.
Yeah, when we finished, because we think I finished the game quite a while ago between now and recording, so I actually went back and played a bunch of the other GTAs. It put me in a GTA mood all of a sudden.
I've got the buzz back on. Yes, GTA 3 again from scratch.
You can watch the Grand Theft Auto movie from, is it the 70s or the 80s with
Oh God, I
Steve
forgot
McQueen.
that was even a thing.
Is it Steve McQueen?
I don't think it was Steve McQueen.
Who was it?
I don't recall. I don't think it was it wasn't like a big movie, so I don't think it had any sort of like A-list stars as far as I can recall.
Because they took the art from it for, I don't remember which GTA game, but the art of it is big. Because I saw it in the store, I was like, hey, this looks like GTA.
I think they use the same like Grand Theft Auto font base. I think. Font type.
It might be that. But that's what took inspiration to the game artwork, kind of.
So yeah, Vice City, fun game. Would recommend. Hasn't aged that badly, so definitely worth a punt.
3 thumbs up.
Good for you.
80 thumbs up because it's the 80s, and that's funny. 80, yes.
Are we doing anything else after this? What are we doing?
I'm going to bet.
What today?
Right. So we're getting close to the spooky season once again. So what we're going to do is dive into
November.
Yes, that is terrifying. Absolutely. So, given that we are getting close to Halloween, we thought we'd try and play something a little bit scarier. We're going to play a relatively modern game this time, for the first time, I think, ever for us, due to various technical snafus that we've all had over the last few months. We're diving into Alien Isolation next, so that should be a fun time for all of us. And by fun, I mean fucking terrifying.
Frustrating, maybe. I don't know.
I hate horror games, so this is going to be a really hard one for me to handle.
It'll be a laugh riot.
It will be like a tear-inducing, nausea-inducing nightmare scene.
I've heard good things, so
I've played a part of it, but I never finished, so...
I've done bits of it. So yeah, it'd be fun going into that from scratch and seeing how we feel that, playing a relatively modern game for a change. There'll be this kind of like, oh, it doesn't control very well anymore, I couldn't get to run the PC properly. That'll negate all of that stuff, thankfully, so we can actually get a proper, objective, modern-ish look. So,
I'll
if it
try to play it
hasn't
in
aged
VR.
well in the last 3 years, I'll be amazed, frankly, but we'll find out.
3 years? It's like from 2016.
5 years.
I'm going to tell you this now. It's nowhere near 2016, I'll tell you that much for a fact.
All right.
It might be, if I don't remember.
Oh shit!
What?
It's 2014!
Aha!
Oh no.
We're all wrong!
But I was close.
Relatively modern game.
It came out on Switch in 2019, so I'm right. So.
Switch?
Yeah, we're not playing.
Nintendo's new console.
We're not playing
Okay.
We're not playing the Switch version. I'm telling you that.
Or came out on Android in 2021. So.
All right, let's play that one.
We'll cover that in due course. But yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Rock on.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Love Fest!